Okay, so this is section 1 of our formative. The first question says calculate the area of a rectangle with side length 12 centimeters and 4 centimeters. Okay, so to calculate this, we need to multiply those two together. 12 multiplied by 4 gives me 48 centimeters squared. Okay, so this one would be B. The next question we have, calculate the area of the triangle, state your units. So you would need to use your formula here if you don't know it. So half base times height. Oops. Or some of you know this as base times height over 2. Okay, so we're going to substitute our values into our formula. So we will have area is equal to a half multiplied by the base, which is 5, multiplied by the height, which is 2. So our area would be equal to 5 times 2 is 10, half of 10 is 5 centimeters squared. Okay? Okay, Ethan is tiling the floor of his rectangular kitchen. The dimensions of the kitchen are length 3.2 meters, width 180 centimeters. What is the area of the kitchen floor in square meters? Okay, so the first thing you need to notice here is that one of our dimensions is in meters and one is in centimeters. Now, because we want our answer in square meters, it makes sense for me to change the centimeters into meters, okay? And I do that by dividing by 100, okay, which is 1.8 meters. Okay, so now I've got that, I need to work out the area. So area is equal to the length times the width. So here we have 3.2 multiplied by 1.8. Pop that into your calculator and you will get 5.76 meters squared. Okay, next question. So we have Jamal is packing a storage box shaped like a cuboid. The box has the following dimensions. So length 45 centimeters, width 25 centimeters, height 0.5 meters. He wants to cover the entire outer surface of the box with plastic wrap. What is the total surface area of the box in square centimeters? Okay, so square centimeters. This time we're going to need to change our meters into centimeters. So 0.5 meters, I need to multiply this by 100 to change it to centimeters. So that would be 50 centimeters. Okay, now we want to find the surface area. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 different calculations to work out. So if you are in my class, remember we label the sides 1, 2, 3. Okay, if you want to do a little sketch of it, let's see, it would look something like this. Oops. Okay, so let's see, we've got length of 45 centimeters, we've got a width of 25 centimeters, and our height is 50 centimeters. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. So for the surface area of shape 1, which is 45 by 50, so 45 times by 50, that gives us 2,250 centimeters squared. Okay, the second shape we have 45 multiplied by 25, okay, which would be 1,125 centimeters squared. And then we have our third side, which would be 25 multiplied by 50. Okay, so again, pop that into your calculator and you will get 1,000 250 centimeters squared. So I need to find the total surface area. So what I need to remember is that all of these need to be multiplied by 2, okay? Because I have 2 of each, okay? So here we'll have 4,500 centimeters squared. This one would be 2,250 centimeters squared, and then the last one would be 2,500 centimeters squared. Again, you just pop that into your calculator, or you can add it up manually if you prefer. And you would get a final answer of 9,250 centimeters squared. Okay, so onto the next section, we have a complete the table to show the correct unit conversions. Okay, so what you need to know here is how to move between the 3 different conversions. So to go from grams to kilograms, okay, you have to divide by 1,000. There are 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. And to move from kilograms to tons, then that is also divided by 1,000. Okay, so what this means is if we're working the other way, it would be the opposite. So it would be multiplied by 1,000, and then the same thing here, multiplied by 1,000. Okay, so let's fill in our table. So if I start with 5,000 grams, I need to divide that by 1,000 to change it to kilograms. So I know that that's going to be 5 kilograms. Okay, onto the one below. So I have 7,800 kilograms. I am moving this way into grams. Okay, so I need to multiply by 1,000. So that would give me 7,800,000 grams. Okay, and then to move the other way, I'm going to be dividing by 1,000 to move from kilograms to tons. So 7,800 divided by 1,000 leaves me with 7.8 tons. Okay, on to the last one. So again, we're going to divide 65,000 by 1,000, which would be 65. And then to move from kilograms to tons, oops, let's do that again. Okay, we are times in by 1,000. So this is going to be 65 million. Okay, and there we have our completed table. So on to the next question. So a gift box is shaped like a cuboid and has the following dimensions. Okay, so let me just do a quick sketch of my cuboid. It's terrible, but I'm not an artist, as we all know. Okay, let's just sort this out a little bit. I can't have it that terrible. Okay, and then there we go. Right, so number our sides. Okay, and let me label. So we have a length of 18 centimeters, a width of 12 centimeters, and then a height of 8 centimeters. Okay, so part 1 of the question is to calculate the total surface area of one box. So I want to work out my 3 different sides. So first one is 18 multiplied by 8, which would give me 144 centimeters squared. For side 2, we would need to do 18 multiplied by 12. Okay, so this time that would give us 216 centimeters squared. And then our last side is going to be our 12 multiplied by 8, which is 96 centimeters squared. Now remember, I don't only have 3 sides. Each of these 3 sides have like a side that's paired with it, and they're the same. So we need to multiply all of these by 2. Okay, so we have 288 centimeters squared. We have 432 centimeters squared, and we would have 192 centimeters squared. I need to add those together to find my total surface area. So let's see, 12, 23, never mind, 21, and then 2, 4, 8, 9. Okay, so 912 centimeters squared is the surface area of one box. Okay, so part B is asking, a company is packaging 150 of these boxes and wants to wrap each one entirely in foil. The foil is sold in rolls, each covering 2.5 meters squared. How many rolls are needed to wrap all 150 boxes? Okay, so first things first, I want to work out, well, what's the total surface area of 150 boxes? So 912 multiplied by 150, that gives me 136,000, and 800 centimeters squared. So I need to know how many rolls are required to cover all of these boxes. So what I'm going to need to do is either convert this answer into meters squared or convert this meters squared into centimeters squared. Okay, so I'm going to think about my conversion. So if I have 1 meter by 1 meter, that gives me 1 meter squared. Let's do, if I did the same for centimeters, it would be 100 centimeters multiplied by 100 centimeters, which is 10,000 centimeters squared. Okay, so to convert this answer here into meters squared, I need to divide it by 10,000. Okay, so let's do that. We've got 136,800, and we are dividing by 10,000. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 13.68 meters squared. Okay, so now if I know that each roll is 2.5 meters squared, I can divide this by that. So 13.68 divided by 2.5, and that would give you an answer of 5.472. Now, that would be rolls of plastic or foil, whatever it is, okay? Now, we can't buy 5.4 rolls, okay? You can either buy 5 rolls or 6 rolls. However, 5 rolls wouldn't be enough, would it? So, you must buy 6 rolls, okay? And that would be your final answer for that question. Okay, for this question, Cara is baking cookies and her recipe calls for 4 pounds of flour. She only has a digital scale that measures in kilograms. So we are going to need to use the conversion of kilos to pounds. So let me write that out. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.205 pounds. Okay, so I want to know what this side will be, and I know that this side is 4 pounds. Okay, so I'm going to divide 4 by 2.205. Okay, and that gives me a conversion of multiplying by 1.81. I need to do the same on the other side. So multiply by 1.81, which would give me an answer of 1.81 kilos. And there we have it. So in terms of this question, which of the following is closest to the amount? It would indeed be C. Okay, so this question, Abdullah is training for a race and runs 10 kilometers every morning. He wants to know approximately how many miles that is. Which of the following is closest to 10 kilometers in miles? So again, we need to go back to our conversion table. We are looking at kilometers and miles. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. Okay, and this is my conversion. Okay, so I know that he's running 10 kilometers, so I'm going to write that on the same side. Ooh, that's a little bit much, isn't it? I'm going to write that on the same side here, so 10 kilometers. Okay, here we are multiplying by 10, so I'm going to do the same thing on this side to convert to miles. Okay, so 0.625 multiplied by 10 is 6.25 miles. So in terms of the answers, which is the closest to 10 kilometers in miles? Well, 6.25 would round down to 6 miles. So there we have it. Okay, on to the next. I am 71 inches tall. I want to know my height in centimeters. What is the approximate height? Okay, so again, back to your conversion table. We are changing inches into centimeters. So I have this here. So 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So I want to know what 71 inches is. So here I would be multiplying by 71. So I need to do the same thing on this side. So just grab your calculator and we're going to put 2.54 multiplied by 71, which is 180.34 centimeters. So which of these answers is closest? Well, it's going to be 180 centimeters. Okay, next one. Shana drinks 2 pints of water each day. Now just note that it is the UK pints, okay? She wants to know how much that is in litres. So let's go back to our conversion. We are looking at UK pints. So this one, oops, let's try that again. This one here, let's copy that. Okay, so 2 pints goes on this side. Okay, and I want to know the equivalence for the litres. Okay, so this one's slightly different. We're going to do 2 divided by 1.76 this time, which would be, so 2 divided by 1.76 is 1.136. Okay, so in terms of which is closest, it's going to be 1.1 litres. Okay, on to 5.5. So 2 animal enclosures need to be covered with protective netting. Both enclosures are solid, closed shapes. Okay, so enclosure A is a cuboid. So if you want to make a quick sketch, you absolutely can do. Sometimes it just helps to visualize what is happening. Okay, sometimes you don't need this. It's personal preference, really. Okay. And then, right, so this is our cuboid. We have a length of 1.2 meters a width of 80 centimeters, and a height of 0.6 meters. So two of my measurements are in meters. So I'm going to write all of my measurements in meters. So my length is 1.2 meters. My height is 0.6 meters. So this 80 centimeters, I need to change into meters by dividing by 100. So it would be 0.8 meters. Okay. Then for the next enclosure, we have a triangular prism. So again, just have a go at drawing this. Duplicate that. Oops. Okay. Okay, so our base is 1 meter. Our height, so this height would be our vertical height, remember? So let me just do that in a different color. So this height here is 0.8 meters. And then we have the depth of the prism is 120 centimeters. So again, I want to change that into meters by dividing by 100. So it would be 1.2 meters. Okay, now we want to calculate the surface area of both enclosures in square meters. So let me just copy these shapes down here. Okay, and then we can calculate our surface areas. So the first one, again, label your sides, 1, 2, 3. So side 1 would be 1.2 times 0.6. Pop that into your calculator. Remember, you have that available at all times on the screen. And we would be getting 0.72 meters squared. Okay, side 2. This time we're doing 1.2 multiplied by 0.8. Okay, 1.2 multiplied by 0.8, which is 0.96 meters squared. And then onto the third side, we would have 0.6 multiplied by 0.8, which is equal to 0.48 meters squared. Remember, we have to multiply all of those by 2. Okay, so 2 times 0.72 plus 2 times 0.96 plus 2 times 0.48. Okay, put all of this into your calculator and we would get, let's see, 2 times 0.72 plus 2, 0.96 plus 4.32 meters squared. Okay, so that's the answer for the cuboid or enclosure A. Now let's do enclosure B, which is this triangular prism. So I'm going to calculate the sides, my triangle first. So I'm going to call that number 1. So we have base, which is a half, times the base, which is 1, times the height, which is 0.8. So that would be equal to 0.4. Okay, we have our our second side, which is one of the slanted sides. Okay, so here I'm going to have to use Pythagoras first, okay, to work out what the length of that side is. So just to explain what I'm doing, the front face, which is the triangle, I'm going to split that into half and create a right angled triangle. Okay, we're back. So we have to find the hypotenuse of this smaller triangle. Okay, so all I've done is split the front face in half. Okay, so I know that the base of this triangle here will be half of 1 meter, okay? So 0.5 meters, okay? And then I know the vertical height is 0.8. So not really left myself much room there. How about write this? 0.8 meters. Okay, so we're going to use Pythagoras to find our hypotenuse. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, I know that a and b are 0.8 squared plus 0.5 squared equals c squared. And then, of course, I need to square root both sides to find out what c is. So c is equal to 0.94 meters. Okay, because all my other dimensions are to 1 decimal place, I'm going to write this as 0.9 meters to 1 decimal place also. So now I have the slanted height. Okay, so this height here I know is 0.9 meters, so I can work out what those two rectangle shapes are for side 2. So 0.9 multiplied by 1.2, which gives me 1.08 meters squared. Okay, and then side 3. So now what is left is the base of the triangular prism. So we have 1 multiplied by 1.2, which of course is 1.2 meters squared. Okay, so now when I find my total surface area, so total, that's going to be equal to 2 times the triangle, which was the first one. So I need 2 times 0.4. Okay, for the two faces at the front and the back. I need to add 2 times the second for both of the rectangular sides. So 2 times 1.08. And I just need one base, which was 1.2. Okay, so I'm going to add all those together. So my total surface area would be equal to 0.8 plus 2.16 plus 1.2, which means my surface area is equal to 4.16 meters squared. So now for part B, where it asks me which enclosure has the larger surface area. So here I can compare the first with the second, and I find that enclosure A is greater than enclosure B. Enclosure B, because 4.32 meters squared is greater than 4.16 meters squared. Okay, and that's all you need to say for that question. Okay, onto section 4. So we have a scale model of a triangular roof, has a triangular face with a base of 16. So the base is 16 centimeters and a height of 20 centimeters. The roof is placed on a rectangular base measuring 16 centimeters by 10 centimeters. The height from the base to the tip of the roof is x centimeters. If the total surface area of the model is 992 centimeters squared, find the value of x. Okay, so we know that the height here is 20 centimeters. Okay, the height, if the total surface area of the model is this, find the value of x. Okay, so there is a couple of ways that we could do this. You could just go straight ahead and use Pythagoras, okay? Or you can use the total surface area and work backwards. So 2 different ways. I would say, honestly, the easiest way is to use Pythagoras, okay, to find out what this is, because we can just use the dimensions of the front triangle. Okay, so I'm going to split the front triangle in half. Okay, so the slanted height will still be 20 centimeters. Okay, but now the base is half. Okay, so I know that that's 8 centimeters, and I'm trying to find out what this is, which is x. Okay, so this time we're going to use Pythagoras, but just in a slightly different order. Okay, because we have the hypotenuse this time. So I know that 20 squared is equal to 8 squared plus b squared. So I'm going to subtract the 8 squared, 20 squared minus 8 squared equals b squared. And then I can square root both sides. So 20 squared minus 8 squared equals b. And so we find that b is going to be equal to 18.33 centimeters. Okay, you could round that to 18.3 centimeters. For question 6.2, we are asked to calculate the surface area of the pyramid. Okay, so I'm going to start with the square base at the bottom. Okay, so the area of this would be 5 multiplied by 5, which is 25 centimeters squared. Okay, and then for my side 2, I'm going to calculate one of the triangles. So my formula is going to be a half multiplied by the base, which is 5, multiplied by the vertical height of the triangle, which is 8. Okay, 5 times 8 is 40, multiplied by a half would be 20 centimeters squared. So to calculate the total surface area, we are going to need to do 25 plus 4 multiplied by 20. Now, the reason we're doing that is there are 4 triangles on this pyramid, so we need to multiply the area of one of the triangles by 4. So this is going to be equal to 25 plus 80, giving us a total surface area of 105 centimeters squared. Okay. And then here we have find the surface area of the spherical ball. Leave your answer in terms of pi. So again, this is one of the formulas in your formula booklet. Okay, so do make sure that you are using those formula booklets. They are there to help you. So let's just go back so I can get the exact one that you need. Okay, so here for a sphere, we have the surface area of a sphere, where r is the radius. Okay, so let me pop that in here. Okay, for this question, we're told that the radius is 10.5. So to calculate the surface area, I need to do A is equal to 4 pi times 10.5 squared. Okay, so A is equal 10.5 squared is 110.25 multiplied by 4, which is going to be 441 pi. Now, a top tip, leave pi out of your calculation if you are asked to give your answer in terms of pi. Okay, so leave it out of your calculation, and then at the end, you can just add this on like I have. Okay, and of course, remember your units, which here are centimeters squared. Okay, so convert your answer from 6.3 into meters squared. Okay, so here we do need our decimal value for it. So the first thing I'm going to do is 441 pi is equal to 1,385.44 centimeters squared. Okay, and I need to know my conversion from centimeters squared into meters squared. Okay, so I know that if I have 1 meter by 1 meter, I have 1 meter squared. And if I do its equivalence in centimeters, okay, I would have 10,000 centimeters squared. Okay, so I need to divide this. So I'm going to be doing 1,385.44 all divided by 10,000, which is equal to 0.1385 meters squared. Now in my question, it wants 2 decimal places, so I'm going to approximate this to 0.14 meter squared. And there's my final answer.